So in this video we're going to address volume, and I'm not sure if I've recorded my videos in the same order that I was going to assign them, so I'm just going to kind of review the concept of volume with you. Remember that volume is a three-dimensional concept. So you take a can, like a can of corn or a can of soup or a box of cereal, and you think about how much are you going to fill that. The material inside, the filler, is volume. So we're going to emphasize in this video the concept of the volume of a prism. Now that might sound a little bit weird, but we're going generic on it because a prism can be a variety of different things. We can think of a box of Kleenex or a box of cereal. We could think of something that has a triangular base to it. Some of them are going to have trapezoids. Prism is kind of like a catch-all concept. But really the basic idea for volume is going to be the area of the base times the height. And so our task is going to be, how do we figure out the area of the base? And then can we identify the height? So I'm going to bounce around a little bit on my pictures. I'm actually going to flip my paper over, and I want to take a look at number 16 because this is something that's a really great starting point for us. I envision this as a box, like an Amazon box that got dropped off on my front step. We get a lot of those around here. If we wanted to know how much can I fill that with, like can I fill it with water? If it's a box, it's probably not a great idea. Can I fill it with tissue paper? Can I fill it with the poppy plastic paper that goes pop, 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 pop? Maybe that's what I'll fill it with. I don't know, but I want to fill it. So that's the concept of volume. When you guys look at this, I want you guys to try to look at the base. What I'm shading in is what my eyes see as the base, the bottom, what's it sitting on, and then how much am I going to fill it from there. So when we think about volume as area of the base times the height, the base is 6 times 8, and then the height is 2. And hopefully, please focus, you can do better than that. There. Okay, so when you're thinking about like a box, a lot of people say, oh, length times width times height. Well, that makes sense because the area of the base is length times width. But I really want you guys to be thinking area of base because that's going to help us as we start understanding the concepts of cones and pyramids and cylinders. You name it, it's going to help us. So 6 times 8 times 2 is 96. Because this is a three-dimensional concept, it will be unit cubed, so that is feet cubed for the concept of volume. Now I'm going to flip my paper back over just a little bit. I want to take a look at numbers 4 and 6 because I'm kind of focusing on the boxy style prisms right now. Now this feels very slanted because it is. Look at that slant right there. But guys, this height of 12 feet is going to remain constant of a height of 12 feet. So we're still going to focus on the area of our base. The base is 10 times 15 times then our height. We're looking at 1,800 feet cubed. Same thing on number 6. Area of the base, there's my base sitting down there. 7 times 4 times our height of 3, which is a total of 84 yards cubed. Okay, so hopefully that's getting us going. And you're going to notice there's some additional work on here. I used the same worksheet for one other video in particular, dealing with the volume of a cylinder. So don't stress, I'm just using the paper I've got. So the next thing that I want to approach is I want to take a look at number 2 up here on the top. Now I know that we can look at this in a couple of different ways, and I'm going to have some students say, well, there's my base, and the area of my base is 3 by 4, and then the height is 1.5. But I want you guys to be kind of careful on that and to maybe challenge yourself to look a little bit differently. I want to look at it this way. I want you guys to look, I'm not shading dark enough, I want you guys to look at the triangle. Can we find the area of that base? Well, if we think about that base of the triangle, its height is 1.5 and its base is 3. So we're going to go 1.5 times 3 divided by 2 for that base concept of the triangle, then times our height of 4. And we are looking at an area of 9 centimeters cubed. So the challenge for us is, how are we going to tip it over so that it's sitting on a base? Because if you guys had just done 3 times 4 times the height, that would have made it a rectangular prism, also known as a box. That's not what we have. We have part of a rectangular prism because this triangle is not a rectangular quadrilateral. So be really careful when you guys are thinking about finding the base. If it's a box-like shape, like number 4, you're probably good. But here, when we have different shapes for our base, we do have to be careful. So I want you guys to take a look with me at number 18. On problem number 18, I know that you guys are probably, I think of this as like a wedge of cheese. That's how I see it. I know you're looking at that base down there, but this one's pretty visually accurate. We've got this base of 16 by 22, but if I just then multiply that 34, okay, now wait a minute, that's not going to fly, because if we just multiply these 3 dimensions together, what I'm trying to say then is that we have an entire rectangular prism, oh please focus, like an entire box. That's not what we currently have. So for this guy, we need to be kind of careful. I'm going to bring my 34 here because that's going to be symmetric, and I want us to be thinking about this triangle as the base. Well, I don't know that distance down here, but it is a right triangle, which allows us to use Pythagorean theorem. So 16 squared plus x squared equals 34 squared. You're going to hear my husband's cell phone go off in the distance. Don't worry about it. He works from home too. So we're going to do some solving. That 16 squared, whoops, it would help if I typed it correctly, is 256 plus x squared, and then 34 squared is 1156. I'm going to subtract off our 356. And that will give us 800. Take the square root. Whoops. Would help if I could type. And we're looking at about 28.3. That is x. Now we can find the area of our base. 16 times 28.3 divided by 2. And then we're going to fill it times 22 inches for the height. Okay, so this 16 times 28.3 times 2 is the area of the triangle, base times height divided by 2. That's the area of our base. I'm trying to get this thing to be sharper. There we go. So then multiply by the height. So it's like tipping that prism over, and then it's going to be 22 tall. That 1/2 or that 2 on the bottom has you puzzled. If you can envision flipping this over, it's half of a box or half of a rectangular prism. So 16 times 28.3 divided by 2 times 22 is, where's my magic number? Making sure I typed everything well. I think I have a typo. Hang tight. 4,980.3 inches cubed. Okay, there we go. Let me know if you guys need any help, if I can provide any level of support for you, and we're good to go. Take care. Bye, guys.